Welcome back to the channel, my friend. In this video, I'm going to show you and tell you how falling asleep fast at night is a science and you do not need to leave it up to luck. Okay? I'm going to be revealing exactly how you can fall asleep within 10 to 30 minutes at night because there is a lot of variables that do determine if you fall asleep fast and if you can do that consistently night after night. Now, I used to have problems personally falling asleep even after a very strenuous day or a day where I was already tired, I would still not fall asleep for 45 minutes, sometimes even 90 minutes. I'd either go on my phone, or I just literally look at the ceiling. So in this video, I'm going to show you a protocol and a framework that my clients, and of course me as my first client, always use and we implement on a daily basis to help you prepare for bed. So when you do put your head on the pillow, you can successfully fall asleep and set yourself up for that deep restorative sleep within 10 to 15 minutes. Now, to begin, I believe the first part of being able to fall asleep fast within 10 to 15 minutes all comes down to the level of consistency and how you train your mind and your body to fall asleep fast. What I mean by that is understand that the body and the mind, they love anchors. Now, what I mean by anchors is, let me explain. An anchor would be, imagine you go into a certain room in your house or your apartment, and that room is just dedicated to one activity. So let me give you an example. My room, I do nothing in my room but sleep. I don't even have sex in my room because I don't have a girlfriend and I'm not into, quickies or little flings or anything. I don't spend any time in my room except for sleeping. So when I go into my bedroom, my body and my brain knows, okay, I'm only here to sleep. I don't eat in my room. I don't watch TV in my room. I don't scroll on my phone in my room. I'm just there to sleep. So I say that to say this: build anchors to certain environments that allow your body to know, oh, okay, I'm here. I now need to get into this rhythm. I now need to get into this activity. Same thing applies. When you go ahead and you want to enter flow state, you want to have that deep centered focus. This is just a side note. I know we're talking about falling asleep, but I literally, in my house, I just have a room, my office, just for work. That's just for me to create content. That is just for me to have sales calls. That is just for me to have my coaching calls. That is just for me to have my deep creative work. I don't watch TV in that room. I don't chat in that room. I don't press out my clothes in that room. I don't eat in that room. It's just for work. So when I go into that room, my brain, of course, it might take a few minutes, but my brain knows, oh, okay, I'm in this environment. I'm here for this set of activities or this task. So again, I say that to say the first thing you need to do is allocate your bedroom just for sleeping and sex. Because, maybe you're not like me. Maybe you have a girlfriend. Maybe you have a significant other, or, you like having your fun. You like having your flings. I have a video on why you shouldn't do that. But anyway, that's a time for another topic. But just keep your bedroom specifically for sleeping and for romance, or again, just for sleeping. Now, one thing I do with all my clients is we transform your bedroom or their bedroom into their sleep sanctuary. Now, we do this by eliminating more than we do adding anything, right? Yeah, sure. Can you have blackout curtains? Absolutely. Can you have a dehumidifier? Absolutely. Can you, use mouth tape so you force yourself to become a nasal breather, which is excellent? Absolutely. But it's actually about removing things from the bedroom and just isolating it just for sleep and just for romance. Now, what really turns your bedroom into a sleep sanctuary, there's just a few key points here. But ideally, you want your room to be between 63 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that might be news to you, like, wow, that's really cool. Or, yeah, I already do that. But the cooler your core temperature is internally, the faster and the deeper your body and your mind can enter the light sleep stage, which then follows into your slow wave sleep and then eventually your REM sleep cycles. Okay. So the first thing is making sure your room is as cool as possible, ideally 63 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. The cooler the room, the faster and the deeper, more restorative sleep you're going to get. Secondly, common sense, but need to mention it. Make sure your room is clean. Okay. Do not have dust in your room. Please make sure there's no mold in your room. Okay. Make sure that there's not just dirt. There's no, don't get into bed with the same clothes that you wore during the day, right? There's tons of germs, there's bacteria on that. So make sure that your room is clean. And kind of, I guess you can call this point 2.5. Make sure that you're cleaning your sheets and your pillowcases at least once a week, right? We sweat, whatever. make sure you're cleaning your sheets in your bedroom at least once per week, the same you would clean a bathroom, at least in my eyes. Okay. Number three is make sure that room is as quiet as humanly possible. No alarm clocks, no even physical clocks. Quick note on physical clocks. If you wake up, let's say 2, 3 in the morning, just it's a fluke, you wake up by accident, let's say you go to the bathroom, even though you looking at that clock may not make you feel anxious, subconsciously you're making your body and your brain anxious. Like, well, oh my God, it's 3:15 and I'm getting up, like I'm still not asleep, or oh, like why did I wake up? You may not feel it, but your subconscious does, and that does affect your sleep. It fragments it, and that's a whole nother host of problems in itself. So keep your room as quiet as possible. No alarm clocks, okay? No little like wind. I'm not saying like wind chimes, whatever. Okay, just keep your bedroom as silent as possible. Number four, keep your bedroom as dark as humanly possible. Remember, melatonin is the hormone that's responsible for helping you feel tired and also fall asleep. And melatonin is released from the pineal gland, excuse me. And the pineal gland is what we call the gland of darkness. It thrives and it releases when it's completely dark, right? The same way how when we get outside in the morning for our sun, that lifts our energy levels up, the darkness helps us wind ourselves down and prepare ourselves for that deep restorative sleep. Okay, so number four is making sure your room is as dark as possible and you block out all light. Okay, so having no lights on, not any kind of ceiling light. If you have a little fish tank in there with some lights, put it in a different room if you really want to optimize your sleep. Okay, get blackout curtains, phenomenal option. That's number four. Keep it as dark as possible. Okay, moving on is number five. And number five is a bit tangy. I know some people kind of have mixed feelings about it, but this is when you actually start to use kind of tools and gadgets, right? So this is when you can have some mouth tape because we do want to be a nasal breather. Nasal breathing has so many benefits. When you use your mouth to breathe or at least exhale, it's not, at least sleeping, it's not very good for you. That comes with a whole host of problems. I'm not going to go into that right now, but primarily you want to be a nasal breather. So having some kind of mouth tape to transition to becoming a nasal breather, or if you just want to have even better sleep and you're already a nasal breather, go ahead and try out some mouth tape. That is a phenomenal addition. As well, another tool, right, is keeping your room. You can get like a dehumidifier. Make sure the quality of the air in the room is as best as it can be. Some people hate them. Some people love them. Right. So number five is really just about kind of adding some tools in there to really help optimize to the next level. But the first part of falling asleep fast is making sure that your bedroom has one purpose, which is sleep and romance as well. And in that bedroom, you're basically setting yourself up for success to have the best deep restorative sleep possible by keeping it as cool as possible, as dark as possible, as quiet as possible, removing all electronics, anything, clocks like that, keeping it clean, and then optimizing it further with some tools like some mouth tape, maybe a dehumidifier, making sure the room is always clean, and maybe getting some blackout curtains as well. That's how you transform from bedroom into an actual sleep sanctuary that literally bolsters your health and sets you up for success in your lifestyle. Number two is prepare yourself to go to bed. A lot of times people, right, like they think, oh, I just get in bed and, hopefully I fall asleep fast. So let me ask you this. If you're driving a car on the highway at, let's just say the speed limit, can you automatically go from doing the speed limit to parking into your garage with no braking? The common and the obvious answer is going to be no, right? Your sleep is the same way. And that's why, just like I have like my little morning routine, or I like to call it my wind up in the morning that sets my day up for success and peak performance, I do the same thing at night. Because do remember, tomorrow's performance is solely dictated on how you wind down and rest and recover today. The best top performers, my clients that are the absolute top performers in sales and in entrepreneurship, they're great at hustling. They're top performers in that. But what makes them a true top performer is their ability to stay consistent and optimize the recovery at the highest level so it's sustainable and they can go hard for a very long period of time. They can catch momentum and they can run with it. And one of the best ways to do that, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, is winding down at night. A morning routine is fantastic, but you know what's even more important is an evening routine. I'm going to break down my evening routine and what makes up an evening routine and its purpose and why it's so potent and crucial in your lifestyle. My evening routine or my wind down is 1 hour. I have literally an alarm set on my phone that goes off. When this alarm goes off, it goes off about 90 minutes before bed. That's when I put on my blue light blockers. So if I am looking at any kind of screen or anything, I don't have the blue light coming in anymore. Okay. I start to dim the lights in my house. I do have dimmers. So I dim all the lights to make them very, very low so they're not very bright. Then what I like to do is I like to prepare tomorrow's agenda or tomorrow's day the night before. And that'll pretty much be almost the last activity that I do on my phone. So I plan out my day for tomorrow. That takes about 5 minutes. I then proceed to go take a very hot shower. Okay. Now, a hot shower or a hot bath, both are phenomenal. Mine usually lasts about 10, 15 minutes. The beautiful thing about a hot shower or a hot bath is, remember, when we heat up the extremities of our body, right? So hands, feet, this would be your neck or your head, your brainstem in the back, even under your armpits as well, and even your genital areas, they're sensitive to heat. When you warm up the extremities, your core temperature has to drop because your body has to come back to homeostasis. It has to be at a balance of one. The same reason you'll notice if you go for a walk outside when it's very, very cold in winter, yes, you're very cold for a second, but what does your body naturally start to do? It naturally starts to warm itself up because it has to come back to that balance and baseline of homeostasis of one. So by taking a hot shower, one, I get to really just kind of relax. I get to reflect. I get to think about my day. It's a good time just to really start to wind down. It's the first signal of winding down to my body. I tend to get a lot of cool shower thoughts, which is just a bonus, but I'm starting to warm up my extremities and that's starting to drop my core temp. Remember, the cooler your core temp, the cooler your room, the faster and the more deeper restorative sleep that you get. Okay. So I take that shower for about 10 to 15 minutes and I even dim the lights. I have the lights on very, very low, even in the bathroom, in the shower. Once I come out of the shower, I come out of the bathroom. I then head into my bedroom. Again, I have a very small light, very, very dim. I still have my blue light blockers on. And I go ahead and I read. It can either be an audio book or a physical book. Right now, I'm reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, one of my favorite books, my third time reading it actually, but it's a paperback version. So I typically read about 1 to 2 chapters every night, and that can be anywhere from really 5 minutes to almost upwards of 30 minutes, right? And I would just kind of dictate it depending on, how close I want to be to my bedtime. But I'll go ahead with my blue light blocker still on. I'll go ahead and I'll read a chapter or two, and I'll sit there and I'll just think a little bit, right? So now I'm pretty much at like maybe the 45, almost 50-minute mark since when I started my initial wind down of putting on my blue light blockers and setting my schedule for the next day. The final activity that I do is I go on YouTube. I'm a big fan of Andrew Huberman. I learned a lot of my knowledge from Andrew Huberman as well as a lot of other people, but very prominent. You've probably heard of him in this space. And I do what's called a 10-minute non-sleep deep rest session. It is basically a form or emulation of yoga nidra. Now, I'm not talking about yoga with the spirituality and all that stuff. I don't really understand it, so I'm not going to speak on it. However, the process of non-sleep deep rest is it's taking the attention off of your mind and it's putting all your attention on your body. And it's just a very comprehensive body scan, also combined with very long, deep inhales and exhales that slow down your heart rate and they slow down your respiratory rate. And that helps you prepare for sleep as well. So once I do that, again, you can't calm the mind with the mind. You calm the mind by putting your attention on the senses in your body. Okay. So once I do that 10-minute, I pretty much almost feel like my body go numb, almost like I'm levitating, and I get very sleepy. And I'm already pretty sleepy once I get to the point of finishing my chapter in my book. The NSDR is just the cherry on top. I then get up, I plug my phone in a different room, actually in my office that I told you about where I do my work. I turn off that last little dim of light that's on there. Obviously, I take off my glasses and then I go ahead and I head to bed. And usually, I'm not perfect. I'm still a human. Most times I fall asleep, I would say now, when my wind down is really dialed in and optimized, which is about 6 out of the 7 days during the week. I usually fall asleep within 5 to 10 minutes. If let's say I miss a step or it's a bit of a later night and I'm throwing off my consistency a little bit, it might take me closer to about 15 to 20 minutes to fall asleep, but I still end up falling asleep. I wake up well rested, re-energized, not groggy. I don't set a timer. I let my body wake up when it's ready and I get that deep restorative sleep. And then I wind up with my little few actions and I'm off to the races for my day. I have an edge over others and I'm ready to fucking crush it. So 2 things to fall asleep fast. It's a science. Do not rely on luck. 1, transform your bedroom from a bedroom into your sleep sanctuary that is dedicated only for sleep and for romance. And 2, incorporate an evening wind down that starts about 1 hour before you actually want to go to sleep. That signals to your body and to your mind it's time to relax, rest, and prepare ourselves for that phase where we're going to get deep restorative sleep and set our day up for success come tomorrow morning. You implement those 2 things, I swear to God, your life is going to change and your life is just going to skyrocket in every area of life, from how you feel when you wake up to the money you make in your bank account, to how you show up in your relationships, to the mood that you feel every day. It's going to get so much better, so much quicker. But you have to stay consistent and you have to start doing these things even when you don't see the results. You have to continue for a few days to train the mind, to train the body, and then allow it to accept what you're training it, and then allow it to carry it out and be sustainable and be consistent and see those results day in, day out. Okay. So combine those two things, or even if you just do one and you don't do the other, you're going to see massive results and you're going to start feeling like a top performer if you're not a top performer already. And if you're tired of feeling low energy, if you're tired of waking up with brain fog, and you're tired of not operating at your absolute peak, go ahead and book a free 15-minute performance audit with me below. We'll hop on, we'll connect, we'll chat, we'll see what's really going on under the hood. We'll talk and we will go from there. But I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a super important video. That is how to fall asleep fast. It's a science. Do not rely on luck. If you do it consistently, you can fall asleep within minutes and wake up feeling like Superman. All right. Love you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.